Want to make your own DIY chase car camera rig for e-bikes? That's coming right up. Hey everyone, my name is Rick Cordero. Welcome to RunPlayBack, where we help you with video and tech tips to lead a more efficient and affordable lifestyle. Let's be creative and save money at the same time. Today we're gonna check out an affordable DIY chase car camera rig to film cinematic e-bike videos. This is a very compact solution compared to much more expensive chase car camera rigs. Some of these rigs you may have seen in commercials or movies. I'll also include all the links to the parts we used in the description. So let's get to it. So back in the days, we used to simulate chase car footage by hanging out of the back of the trunk with the camera in our hands, hoping we didn't fall out. But with today's technology, it's much easier to achieve this look with small components that don't require gutting or damaging your vehicle in any way. And the results are actually pretty impressive. But before we get to the demo, let's talk about how this idea came to fruition with our good friend, MrCheesyCam. I've been doing a lot of e-bike videos, and I wanted to do kind of like a DIY chase car camera rig.
Well, I think a hitch is a perfect place to mount a camera. The only problems you're going to run into is the hard mount. It'll pick up every vibration, every bump. If you mount a camera there, even with a gimbal, you're going to get a lot of vibration. So my suggestion is to use some sort of isolation mount. It was something you saw that they would put under some of the early DJI Phantoms when they would put the GoPro there to reduce the vibrations.
That sounds perfect. So how do I get my hands on that? I mean, I think I've been creeping on your Instagram, so I know you have probably all kinds of crazy stuff hidden away somewhere.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you mentioned that, because I did buy a steel bar to build my own trailer hitch, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But since you need it, I can cut one up and then send it your way. So I'll attach the ISO mount to the bar and drill it out for the trailer hitch, and then just send it over to you. It should be pretty good.
Is there anything else we should know before we do this?
Framing is going to be important while the gimbal's hanging off the back, so you're probably going to want to set up the remote control on your DJI Ronin. I believe that's the gimbal that you're using.
Yeah, I'll be looking for that package, and yeah, thanks again, Em, for being the expert in all things DIY.
No worries, we'll send it right over.
Okay, we got the package from MrCheesyCam. It is kind of heavy. It feels about 20 pounds or so. It's a good thing because we want it to be steel. We want it to be strong, especially if it's hanging on the back of the car. Fragile stickers, that's nice. I love how he repurposes old boxes. It's like my dad packaged this. That's how you save money. We're all about saving money at RunPlayBack. All right, so here it is. Ooh, that is kind of heavy. All right. This is the dampening plate, or otherwise known as the camera ISO plate. This is what minimizes the vibrations when you're driving. And it looks like he rigged this plate onto this steel tube. I've never seen, well, I guess I've seen something like this before, but it already has holes in here, so that makes it easier to mount with a few bolts, as you can see. There's some reflective tape over here so cars can see it. You have your mounting bolt right here for the gimbal. And there's a little mini cheese plate that I gotta tighten up, but this is, I guess, to add some accessories. And then he has a pin which goes into the hitch. This is pretty cool. This is something that obviously CheesyCam had. I didn't have to purchase this, but I will put a link in the description to something I found that's kind of similar and probably much more affordable than this one. This might be a little overkill for what we're actually mounting on top of it, but it's better to have something a little bit beefier than something smaller. For the camera, we went with the Fuji X-T3 and Laowa 9mm wide-angle lens. This is a perfect combo for tracking shots because of its 113-degree angle of view with close to zero distortion. We usually keep the aperture around f5 to f8 to provide maximum focus range, since it will be fixed while riding. Next is the DJI Ronin SC gimbal, which is the most lightweight Ronin gimbal in the DJI lineup. But paired with the app, you have powerful features such as wireless recording and control. Speaking of control, we're using an Xbox controller to move the gimbal via Bluetooth. You can even calibrate the speed and smoothness using the Ronin app. This is a game changer, as traditional ways to control your gimbal remotely required purchasing fairly expensive hardware. For wireless video transmission, we're using the Hollyland Mars 400S Pro, which is a solid wireless system with very little latency. It's built tough and creates a solid connection between the camera and your field monitor. A FieldWorld F5 Pro is our field monitor due to its solid image quality, lightweight, and power options. We can power it using the vehicle's 12-volt outlet. The FieldWorld monitor also has a pass-through to push power to the Hollyland Mars 400S Pro receiver. Using a few spare camera parts, I can rig it to the passenger headrest. For communicating between the camera op and the rider, we're using a hands-free helmet comm system. Since the camera op won't be wearing a helmet, I've rigged it inside a pair of noise-canceling headphones. So we have the camera rig all assembled. Now we're going to install it on the hitch. I have this anti-rattle adapter here to prevent any vibrations between the tube and the hitch itself. So we're going to install it like so. Push it in. Line up the holes. Insert the hitch pin. Lock it in. And then we'll just tighten up the bolts on the adapter. You want to lift up the tube to really tighten it against the hitch. I can already feel there's no rattling. Okay, it's good to go. Now that the rig is installed on the hitch, we're going to turn the camera on, unlock the gimbal. Just going to adjust the aperture here. I'm going to put the shutter speed up to about 100, and then we'll turn on the gimbal. And we'll also turn on the transmitter. Everything's balanced. Perfect. Now let's look at the setup inside of the car. I have these two carbon fiber rods that actually clamp right underneath the headrest. I have a nylon strap here wrapped around it just to give it some more tension. And we're going to put it under the headrest and just clamp it down all the way. And that keeps it nice and secure on the headrest. So I have this 12-volt adapter that plugs right into the car. And this goes into the monitor. And with the pass-through, the power pass-through on the FieldWorld, it'll feed power into the Hollyland Mars. So we'll give this a second to load up. So I like to keep all of the data visible so I know exactly what's happening. I know my ISO, my shutter speed, how much card I have left to record, as well as the color temperature, resolution, and all that other good stuff. Now we're going to connect the Xbox Bluetooth controller, and I'm going to start the Ronin app. We'll go to gaming controller, and I think we are connected. There you go. So now the controller is operating the camera. It's really, really cool. If I hit A, it resets the camera. If I hit B, it starts recording. So that's super awesome that I'm able to do all of this wirelessly. Now, the only caveat is that you're going to need a camera operator who's operating this while someone else is driving. So it does require a little bit of teamwork, but it's still pretty cool to have this kind of a setup for such a compact and affordable price. Now we're taking a look at the rear of the car, and this is what the camera looks like while I'm using the Xbox Bluetooth controller. I can also change the modes. So this is mode A, which I like to keep very smooth. You could see it's slow and has a lot of smoothness turned up. So the momentum kind of gradually stops. It's not an abrupt stop. The second mode is a little bit faster. The smoothness is dialed down just a little bit, and it's just a little bit more responsive. So I will just utilize panning and tilting. I'm not really going to do any rolling. We want to keep the horizontal level as straight as possible. So now that everything's set up, let's do a demo and see how it looks in camera. So that's how we made an affordable DIY chase car camera rig to film cinematic e-bike videos. If you have any questions or suggestions on how to improve this build, please leave them in the comments below. And if you come up with a cool DIY project, use the hashtag RunPlayBack so we can give you a shout in the next video. As always, if you want to dive into more video and tech tips, click the links on the side and remember to like and subscribe so we can help you find tech deals that fit your lifestyle. I'll see you guys in the next video.